Hi, my name is Monica and welcome to my YouTube channel where I like to talk about all things knitting and also artsy and craftsy. Most times on this channel I like to talk about knitting, but I do want to start making more videos about just crafts in general, hence my name, Master of None, because I find that I like to do a lot of different projects. So let me know what kind of crafts you would like me to talk about besides just knitting, even though that is one of my big loves. I love knitting so much. So this video is going to be me talking about all the stuff that I bought when I was studying abroad in France. I did a 3-week program for my college in Paris. So we stayed there for an entire 3 weeks, and it was an illustration studio class. We did some studio visit stuff, not studio visits. We did some studio work, but honestly, most of the time we went to a lot of museums and got a ton of inspiration. So if you want me to talk any more about that, I think I have enough footage to like walk through what we did and where we went. So for the one person who's watching, if you want to watch that, enjoy the haul and let's get into it. This haul is a bunch of random bits and bobs that I bought for myself, but also for gifts. Some of them are French, some of them are not, but overall it's just little things to help me remember the trip by and to just spice up my daily life. Some of them are books for museums, some of it is just stuff to hang on my wall. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it and let me know what you think, I guess. Do you like my taste? We'll see. I guess this is one of the earlier things I bought, so we'll start with this. So this is a tin that I bought. It is called Vensia. It's an Italian chocolatier / gelato place. And me and my friend were first one in there because we really wanted gelato, but it was a little late, and so all of the non-chain places around us were closed. So we just walked like 20 minutes away to the Vensia place. We were just there for gelato, but I fell in love with the tins. So I bought this, I fell in love with this, and I was like, how cute will this be on a shelf next to a coffee table, or like, what are the tables? A side table, there we go. A side table by the TV with all my sewing supplies, like a little sewing project to work on while watching TV. Like, adorable, you know? Of course, comes with chocolates in it. I've eaten a fair few of them. It's literally one of my favorite tins, and that place, it makes me want to start collecting these tins, because I also bought a little baby one. This one I bought for my mom because I thought she would also really love the tin. And I don't know, this one, it says it's like a specific area of Italy. If they had one that was Paris themed, I would have gotten that, but they did not. So I went with this one because it just felt right for my mom. She loves the seaside and lemons, I guess. I don't know. And this one's filled with like my favorite kind of the chocolates. So I'm kind of jealous of all of those. But yeah, again, Italian. They have a place actually in New York too, which is kind of exciting because then it will be easy for me to collect these tins. They have Christmas ones and stuff, but again, not the most French thing for me to buy. But I guess, this next thing is another tin. I love how I'm like, I got so inspired by all the museums, and I'm like, tins. Fell in love with tins. Here's another one. This one is a Pierre Hermé tin that I got, and it originally did have macarons in it, and I ate them. Usually I'm not somebody who goes for like such a kitschy tin. This brand, I personally liked, oh gosh, what's the other brand? I like the other brand better that's all green themed. They actually were the right consistency for a macaron because they were like chewy, and not crumbly. They didn't just like, you know? Whereas these ones I found were a little crumbly. But anyways, I digress. This brand I really wish I did like them better because I have the cookbook that I found that this like chef, pastry chef, artiste, that he wrote, and it's this beautiful macaron cookbook that has the most wonderful, beautiful photos and also the most crazy recipes for macaron. It's a little, dare I say, disappointing because all the cookies are just a base recipe, and then you just dye them according to which kind of macaron you're making, and the filling is what makes it different, which I personally, when I make macaron, not that I'm like anywhere as good as this guy I will never be as good as him, but I like to put flavorings in my cookies because I don't know, it feels silly to me that the only thing that would change the cookie's flavor is the food coloring, which I know that's not the purpose of it. It's for the cute looks and aesthetic, and they taste great anyways, but I personally like to put flavoring in. God, I'm really bad at this. This is going to take 5 hours. Anyways, basically, bought this tin partially because of that. So, yeah, fun, beautiful, easy breezy, beautiful. Yeah, I guess we'll start with like some pretty French things. We are not really going in any order because these were all bought very different times. So that was bought earlier in the trip. The tin was bought near the end of my trip. Me and my friend went around and visited all these really old gallerias that were like, you know, hidden little gems and truly magical. And this is a print and done by Georgius Barber. And he was one of the most important and prolific artists of the Art Deco period. So we did a lot of Art Nouveau-y exploration. I've fallen in love with Art Nouveau, but this is Art Deco, which, yeah, a lot of this art is inspired by Japanese prints, which you can really see. I just thought they were fierce and bad bitches, so I thought that it would be good energy to put on my wall. So I need to find a frame and find a place to put this, but there's a lot of room. I'm really bad at hanging up art. It's a miracle I have this thing from Japan finally hung up. That only took me a whole year of living in this place before I did that. So we'll see. The next few things that I bought were from museums. So we went to the Orsay, Musée de apostrophe Orsay, d'Orsay. The Orsay, and we walked around literally all day. We got there at 11 and we went on a Thursday and they closed at 9:45. One of my professors and his wife, they stayed the entire evening. They stayed until 9:45, which is incredible. Such a huge museum, so it's understandable you can spend that much time there, but it's more of like just the wear and like draining, just trying to absorb it all that's where I'm very impressed. But anyways, they had this exhibit going on about, what are they? Posters from the Art Nouveau era. They were absolutely stunning. You know, I think everybody always sees the beautiful posters, but seeing them in person was truly amazing. Like just seeing how they're printed and everything, so cool. So I got this book that just shows most of Munch's work, which honestly I kind of wish I had gotten a different one of the books, but I'm also in love with his stuff. And this has a bunch of different languages in it, as well as English. So I tried to get books and inspirational reading from the different museums that we went to because I want to try to get my inspiration from outside of the internet. If I do like actual research, like scholarly research, that's fine, but I find that relying on Google for everything or looking through Pinterest, I feel like I get stuck in the algorithms, you know? It's like it doesn't really put me outside of the stuff that I'm searching for, whereas if I have physical books that I can like look up inspiration and then from there Google stuff. But I just wanted to have physical representations of the things that I found inspirational that I could refer to, just because I would think that will help my creativity, if that makes sense. This is so beautiful and just shows a lot of his work, and I'm excited to flip through it and learn more about him. Truly, those posters were one of my favorite things, and I actually brought my friend there later, like when she came later that last week, and it was so random, like the power went out. I think maybe it was one of the hottest days ever, And so my guess is that all of the AC and everything really messed with the system and like caused a power outage. And then they were like, oh yeah, it's fine. And we had some lights and they started kicking us out. And so thank God we decided to go to that exhibit first, because that's what I really wanted to show her. But she had never been before. So it was kind of a bummer because she didn't get to see like anything else. But we were literally just like finishing up with the exhibit. Anyways, I also bought a pack of cards because I thought they were cute and pretty, and I love having practical items that are sentimental and then also pretty. Like, why not? And so then at another exhibit we went to, I'll put the museum, I think, here. I can't remember what it was called, but they had some really cool stuff, but a lot of it was closed off, but we got to see some Art Deco furniture, some really beautiful, well, I guess I'll insert the footage when I talk about this stuff, really beautiful craftsman pieces. They also had this really beautiful exhibit of jewelry that I was just like drooling looking at. So I bring up that place because I also bought a second deck of the cards, which I can't remember. I might have bought this one from the second place and this one from the first place, but I figured I could keep one for myself and I give one to somebody. I'm thinking my brother's girlfriend. One of them, this is cabaret themed, which my boyfriend brought up a good point that might be a little strange to give to a family member, but she's chill, so I don't know. We'll decide which one I can part with, because I really don't need 2 decks of cards, you know? I mean, there are games that require 2. Other thing that we went to was this really wonderful museum that I'm also blanking on the name of. I'll insert it here. But it was actually one of my favorites, I think, because it's funny, I say it's one of my favorites, but I can't even remember the freaking thing. It was one of my favorites because they had an exhibit going on about this haute couture guy. His name is Worth. Spoiler alert, I bought a little pamphlet. They had this beautiful exhibit of dresses that I thought I would find more inspiration from. Honestly, it was beautiful and I loved it. None of the pieces I was like, I would wear that, please give it to me. But the craftsmanship and just the effort and the beauty that were in these pieces, even though they weren't 100% my style, I was drooling, you know? It was so cool to see. And then they also had an exhibit that was about paintings of jewelry. So I don't think it's pretty common practice now, but back in ye olden days, before computers were a thing, jewelry artists, they would make these drawings or renderings of their pieces before, well, I guess it wasn't necessarily the jewelers themselves. Maybe they did, but they would make these paintings of their jewelry pieces before they would make them. And they would usually make them to scale, and they would usually be out of gouache on a toned paper, and it would make these absolutely gorgeous 3D almost jewelry pieces. And like I said, they would do them to scale. So, and then they became kind of used for advertisements as well. So it was kind of a win-win, because these beautiful paintings, you know, you can make them, show them to the client, and be like, hey, this is what we're gonna make, or this is what you described to us, is this what you want? And they would be like, yes or no, tweak that, blah, blah, blah. And then they would do different drawings of it from the different sides, usually the front and the back, or front and the side. And then they could show them to the client, and then they would show them to the jeweler, who would then make the piece. And truly, that exhibit makes me want to do gouache, and inspired actually one of the other things that I bought that I will show when I find it. Actually, it's right there. I absolutely fell in love with that exhibit, and so I bought this notebook, which usually I'm not a big fan of the wide rule, but it has this beautiful kind of matte texture, and I also just this example of the piece, and I thought it would be nice to have this to remember the thing by. I also got some postcards from that, but that's somewhere in the mess, so I will show that in a bit. I've been wanting to paint with gouache for a long time, but I chicken, I don't know, I just keep pushing it off, because of course. So Worth was the clothing exhibit. I don't really get to see much of the actual museum because I spent all of my time at these 2 exhibits. There's just all of these really beautiful couture, I guess, I don't know if couture pieces, but they were all commissioned, you know, by people. And so I bought this little pamphlet, and I also bought this book. It's a bit more robust, like the photos, just so inspirational. That's that. We'll get this out of the way. What is this? Just a piece of wood. I bought this from Muji because we were in these little places. We had a little kitchenette, and I was like, I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna cook in this place, and I don't have a cutting board. So I bought a cutting board. Did I cook it all? No. Did I use this? Yes. To like cut strawberries once. Was it kind of a waste of money? Yes. But like hell was I gonna be leaving this in Paris at that place. So now I have a new cutting board that I need to put in my kitchen. It's very tiny, but it works. So these are kind of falling apart, but I think I've seen this brand in the States before, so I don't know why I felt the need to buy it in France. Sashiko threads. It's a little different than a lot of the Sashiko thread that I've seen before, but it's hand sewing thread, so maybe I guess that's why it's a bit thinner than Sashiko thread. But it is 100% cotton, made in Japan, and it is Dharma threads. And it was just a really cute packet of colors that I thought were fun. I have no idea what I'm going to use them for, but they will be loved. I also bought at the same place, which is also from the same brand. This is a Sashiko pattern. So Sashiko is it's a Japanese type of embroidery. So like embroidery patterns, it'll have these lines that you follow, and then when you wash the object, those lines will come out. I've seen these in the States, of course, and I bought a bunch when I was in Japan, but this one I had never seen a pattern like this one, so that's why I kind of jumped at it. Did I have to buy this in France? No, but I fell in love with that store. It was very cute. So, not the friend who came to visit me the week after, but I have one of my best friends from high school. She lives in Switzerland right now because she moved for work, and so she came down for a weekend, and so we did some shopping, and so we kept popping into stores because she was dying of heat because it was incredibly hot. From what I've heard, it doesn't usually get that hot in June, so lucky us. It was totally miserable, but there were some cool thunderstorms that I got to see. So at least there's that. So on that same little shopping excursion, my friend and I, we stumbled into this other shop. Yeah, this was a different one. It was like a little stationery store, and it was so cute. And I came across this. They also sold paints, but I only bought the tin. But they sold these really cute watercolor tins, and I've been trying to find a really cute watercolor tin like this for ages. I have a set of travel watercolors, and my mom, she actually got me this really, really cute, tiny little baby set that's like this big. But the problem is I need, what's it called? So the problem is I need liquid, there we go, liquid watercolors to fill that. So I don't have those yet. And so I wasn't able to use it at all. But once I have that, it'll be like that big. But if I want to use dry watercolor things, I have now this little one. And my mom got me, I always bring up my mom, always talking about her. But she bought me a set of professional watercolors, and it's very big and heavy. So did I bring it with me? I don't think I did. I didn't bring that with me on the trip. I just brought my little ones. But it'll be nice to have this for when I don't want to lug the whole big tin around. And I just thought this was so beautiful, and I was very excited to find it. And by that part of the trip, I was like, I've spent way too much money. I can't buy more stuff. But I've literally been looking for this for so long. I have no idea if it's a French brand, but yeah. Oh yeah, so at least the watercolors that I did not buy with the tin, they were all handmade in France. So that's pretty cool. I already had a bunch of watercolor paints, and I didn't want to spend more money than I had to. So I will be filling them with my own watercolors. I guess I'll show this. This is really random and stupid, but this is a yogurt container, but it's ceramic. And they sell this brand in America. At least they do it here in San Francisco. It's a French brand of yogurt, and they have these really cute containers, and usually the ones that we have in the States, they're like this light, what's it called, periwinkle color, and I had never seen one with this pattern, so I got a case of them, and I have two, and I was going to give one to my boyfriend, but he didn't like the color of pink. He said it was too fleshy. So whatever. But they also did do a special edition one for Valentine's Day, so I bought one for me and one for my boyfriend, but he has both of those right now. And then he also had a green one at one point. I guess they switch up the color every once in a blue moon. So I guess I've just started this collection, and I've forced him to kind of start collecting them too. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think it would be fun to drill some holes in them and then have them as little plant pots, or maybe I could find some little plastic thingies that fit in here so I could use that, and so I wouldn't have to drill the holes, but I digress. Here are the postcards that I got. So these were from the Petite Palace. There we go. It's from the Petite Palace. So these were 2 images. This was one of the textiles that was on display, and then this was also, and it's also was also a photo of an inspirational, a design idea. There we go. And that's also in the book. And I also bought this, which is a diadem. I always think of Harry Potter. I know that it's not great, but of Goyle going diadem. So this, isn't it? It's so gorgeous. I can't. And then this one is a postcard of all of these rings that were designed. And as you can see, there's the side and the facade, the side profile of these, and absolutely breathtaking. And I bought those to put up on my wall somewhere. This is a cross-stitch piece that I bought from a store, which I should really know the name of. Maybe, I'm guessing it's called this, Les Bonheurs des Dames? Bonheurs? I don't know. This was a shop that me and my friend actually stumbled into when we were searching through the little gallerias. They were so beautiful, and we stumbled across this decked out cross-stitch place. Oh my god, there was also this, I think it was a pop-up shop, but it was this place selling indigo clothing, and it was all this hand-dyed indigo pieces, and I really wanted to buy something for my mom, but they were all like 100 and something euros at least, or 250 was the one thing that I really liked. One of the pieces, oh my god, I was drooling. I would have loved it, but it was not my size. That was truly so cool. This place, I bought little perfume bottles. She had so many beautiful pieces, and the woman had all of the ones that I don't know the full story behind it, but I think she designs the patterns. That's my guess. Because samples as in, like, she made the exact piece and had them all over the walls. So you could look up at the walls and be like, oh, I really like that one. And then you would search through and then you would find the kit for it. And so I found a big version of this, but I decided on this little one because I thought it was gonna be quicker. And I also don't know what I would do with the big one. And not quite sure what I'm going to do with this when I finish it, but I am just in love with it and think it's so cute. And it also feels very French and Parisian without being just a straight up Eiffel Tower, which I am not opposed to. I've fallen in love with the Eiffel Tower. When my friend and I went and saw it sparkle, I was just like, this is the most magical thing ever. And it's just so wonderful to like participate in just looking at this giant thing being beautiful and all being like little tiny beings just in awe, you know, by this big ass weird tower, you know? There's something really beautiful about that. All that to say, I am not opposed to getting Eiffel Tower merch. My friend got this really cute one that had little Moulin Rouge can-can dancers on it that were like just really tiny little cute, and I probably would have gotten that one too, but she got the last of the size of the one that I would have gotten, and then they had other ones that were like on a pouch and like a bigger one, but they just didn't speak to me, so I went with this one, and I'm really happy with it. I think it's going to be very cute and sweet. This piece, I don't know, this object, this item, I was inspired to buy this because of, like I said, because of the gouache paintings of the jewelry at the Petite Palace? I don't know. But basically, our professors recommended, well, to one of my friends, because she is a graphic designer. It's a very cute shop that had like homemade paper and everything. And I saw this book and I thought it was so cute and pretty. It's basically this handmade book of purple paper. And I thought it would be like, look at how fuzzy and fun that is, you know? And I just thought that the paper was so pretty and that doing some gouache paintings like that in here would be really fun. Doing it like little travel paintings or something, I don't know. Or just, yeah, little paintings of things from when I traveled. I think in my brain, I feel like I need to do the things during when I experience the trip. But one of my favorite YouTubers take a photo that she took from a vacation and then paint it. And I think that still is wonderful and beautiful and less pressure on the trip to do everything then. Because I do want to become somebody who paints and draws more on trips. And I thought that this trip would be that because it was an illustration class, but it was just so hard to see everything and draw and have the energy to do both. And oh my god, my feet were killing me the entire trip because we were just standing and walking around all the freaking time. So that was kind of hard. Sometimes there's just not enough time and energy to do all the things on a trip, like painting and drawing and seeing the sights and getting all the inspiration and documenting it all so you don't forget it all. The next item I got is this tote bag. So I am somebody who has a bajillion and one tote bags. I legitimately do not need more. I bought 2 on this trip, but this one I just had to get. I noticed when I was in France this time, they weren't really a thing when I was there both on any of the times before, but there was a lot of jacquard woven items, like these little pouches. I saw a lot of pillow covers and just so many, I think I saw 2 or 3 main companies that make these kinds of jacquard woven objects. And so this one I got, shocker, when we went to Monet's house, and it was truly magical. It was very overwhelming because there were so many people and it was crazy hot, but it was beautiful. And the flowers were in full bloom. The flowers were in full bloom, and we got to see where he painted the freaking water lilies. And we also got to walk around his house, which was super cool. And also reminded me a lot of my great uncle. I feel like my great uncle and him would have been friends. And I don't know why I feel that way or why I feel that need. They just had the same taste in China, which is not saying much because it's just the blue and white China that's very Dutch and also Asian. I don't know why my brain works the way that it does. But anyway, so there's a brand, the ones that they sold specifically in Monet's actual house. There's a big gift shop, which was thankfully air conditioned, but also very overwhelming because there were so many people. Their totes, they were less expensive, but they were a mix of cotton and polyester, whereas this one was at the Impressionist Museum, but I think that's what it was called. It was not my favorite of the museums, but they had ones that were 100% cotton. And this brand is Matrax Cray. There was another brand that made these that, not these specific tote bags, but they made pillow covers and stuff. And my friend and I, when we were on our way to our timed entry for the Musée d'Orsay, and we spotted this store and we went inside. So we went into this little shop and it was so cute and it was so many different woven objects. I'll put the name here. And I was gonna buy a pillow cover because she said that some of them were 20, half off, but the one I picked wasn't. And so I awkwardly had to put it back. But she was so lovely because I was not about to spend $50, or not even $50, 50 euros on a pretty small pillow cover. But she was really lovely. I had a really great chat with her and told her how I was studying textiles, told her how I knew how to use TC2, and she's like, oh, that's handmade. And I was like, yeah, it is. And honestly, I've been kind of low-key stalking all of these jacquard brands on LinkedIn because I'm kind of like, how cool would it be to work for these brands? So I'm not sure about this one. This one is This one's woven in France, which is super cool, and the other brand was too. I did some research. One of them, I'll put the name, is a newer place, but the one that I went to inside the store of and didn't buy anything, that brand had been making jacquard items for many, many, many years. It would be so cool. It makes me want to learn French more because there's a lot of artistry and textiles in France. It'd be cool to work for a French textile brand. Anyways, so that's this. This is one of Monet's really famous paintings, probably of one of the bridges that I got to see. I could have probably stood on it, but one, it probably isn't the same bridge, and two, again, hectic, lots of people, very overwhelming for me, and also, I don't know, man. A lot of tourists, we just be pushy, and I mean, I am a tourist as well. I was, but it just, people are really bad at being out of the way, especially when they just want to get photos and stuff. And there's only so much of that you can handle before you want to run in and just be away from people. Next thing's next. We'll do this. So this I bought with my friend. We popped into the Moulin Rouge. We didn't end up getting to see a show from them, sadly, because they were very expensive. And then we didn't end up going to any sort of cabaret show because it just never ended up having time for it. But one day I would love to see a show there. And I know that there's other places that are probably more affordable than the Moulin Rouge, but it's also like, come on, it's the Moulin Rouge. But anyway, so we went into this gift shop and I got this poster that I just thought was beautiful. I don't know if that's really showing it. I do want more art for my walls. I have fallen in love with those style of posters. There we go. I've fallen in love with that style of poster and just the whole technique of how it's printed. I have only done screen printing on cloth, but this makes me really want to maybe do more on paper. This just felt right to get. I love the colors of it, and I think it would be fun and little sassy to have on my wall. Those, I think, are the main objects I got. I bought this bottle of wine for my dad. It is a Bordeaux. He said he likes Merlots and he's a red wine drinker. I really hope it's not one of those situations where he's like, I like these things, and then I buy him something that's kind of adjacent but not the thing that he likes. But it was kind of a mix of all the things that he likes. And it has an award. So, and it was €1 more than the other bottle of wine I was potentially going to get. I was like, yeah, I'm going to splurge, you know? It was, I think, €7. But I figured if it was sold in the States, it would probably cost a lot more. I didn't buy my brothers anything from France, but I did buy them something from London. So I ended up going to London for a weekend, and I actually got to go see the Cowboy Carter tour, which was so amazing. I don't know if I make any sense.